The stars outside the TSV, Resolute, shimmered like frozen sparks in the void. Commander William Carter stood on the bridge, his arms behind his back, watching the tactical display. His crew moved around him, checking weapon systems and scanning nearby space. It was a routine patrol, deep in the Orion sector. Quiet. Almost too quiet. Then the call came. "Commander," said Lieutenant Harper, his voice tight. "Priority message from Earth. Level 1 security." Carter turned. "Patch it through." "My quarters." He left the bridge and walked down the narrow corridor. The ship hummed softly around him. Carter had spent half his life aboard warships, and Resolute felt like home. In his quarters, the screen lit up with the seal of the Terran Union. A moment later, a woman's face appeared. Admiral Lee, head of Earth's Defense Council. "Commander Carter," she said without greeting. "We've received a transmission from the Galactic Council. They're demanding tribute." Carter's brow furrowed. "Tribute? What kind?" Her expression hardened. "Resources, technology, and biological data. Our DNA. They want obedience in exchange for peace." Carter was silent for a moment. He'd studied the Galactic Council, ancient alien empires, united in power. They ruled the core worlds of the galaxy. For centuries they ignored humanity. But now that Earth had grown strong, they wanted control. "Earth's response?" he asked. Lee hesitated. "The Assembly is meeting in 12 hours. Some want to accept. Others are less agreeable." "I assume that's why you're calling me," Carter said. "You're the most respected officer in the fleet," she said. "Come back to Earth. Speak to the Assembly. We need your voice." Carter nodded. "On my way." The Resolute jumped to Earth within hours. As Carter stepped into the Terran Assembly chamber, voices filled the air. Hundreds of representatives argued, shouted, and pleaded. "The Council will crush us. We must protect our future. We can't win this fight." Carter stepped forward. The chamber quieted. His voice was steady, clear. "I've fought pirates, rebels, and warlords. Never have I seen a force demand tribute without offering anything in return, not even protection. The Council doesn't want peace. They want control. Today it's tribute. Tomorrow it's chains." He paused, letting his words sink in. "We may lose, but if we give in now, we'll never stand again." There was silence, then murmurs, then a vote. One by one, lights turned green across the assembly floor. Earth refused the demand. Admiral Lee met Carter outside the chamber. Her face was pale but firm. "You'll be leading the defense, Commander. The Council won't take no lightly." Carter looked up at the sky, where stars hid behind the clouds. "Then we make sure they remember the name of Earth." The meeting room inside Earth's defense headquarters was quiet, thick with tension. Admiral Lee sat at the head of the long table. Around her were the top minds of the Terran Union. Generals, scientists, and ministers. Commander William Carter stood to the side, arms folded. The vote had been cast. Earth would not submit to the Galactic Council. Now came the hard part. "They'll send a fleet," said General Okoye. "Big, fast, armed with tech we've only studied in labs. We're outmatched in every way," added Minister Reese. "We have maybe 1/3 of their strength. But we have something they don't," Carter said. "A reason to fight." The room turned to him. He stepped forward. "We're not part of their empire. We owe them nothing. If we give in now, we're saying humanity belongs to them. If we fight, win or lose, we prove that we stand as equals. That's something no council ship can erase." Admiral Lee nodded. "Agreed. Carter, you're officially appointed Supreme Commander of the Defense Fleet. You choose the crews. You plan the defense. You lead." Carter didn't hesitate. "I'll do what I must." The next day, Carter returned to the TSV Resolute. Orbiting Earth, the ship was now the command vessel of the entire Terran fleet. Lieutenant Harper greeted him at the docking bay. "Sir, we've received new orders. We're assembling ships from all sectors. Estimated time to readiness: 3 weeks. Then we make every hour count," Carter said. He walked the halls, inspecting the crew. Some were veterans, many were young, fresh from training academies. Some had never seen real battle. He gathered them in the main hangar. The council believes we'll fold, that we're too young, too weak. But they don't understand what it means to fight for your home. You are the wall between them and everything we love. We don't get second chances. This is it. They stood straighter, heads high. Across the galaxy, deep in council space, Overseer Vectal received Earth's reply. He read the message twice. Earth denies the demand. No tribute will be given. He stared at it in silence. Around him aides waited nervously. They refuse, Vectal said at last. An aide stepped forward. Shall we prepare the enforcement fleet? Vectal's eyes narrowed. Yes, send word to the core systems. Earth will learn what happens to those who defy order. Back on Earth, Carter sat alone in his quarters. He stared at a photo of his family. His sister, now a doctor on Europa, and his late father, a former Union pilot. He tapped his log recorder. Personal log, Commander Carter. The vote is final. Earth stands alone. I've been given full command of our fleet. I don't know if we can win, but I know we must try, because if we don't, no one else will fight for us. He paused. If this is the last war Earth fights, let it be the one that earned us our place in the stars. The fleet was gathering. Across Terran space, ships jumped into orbit above Mars, Luna, and the outer colonies. Frigates, cruisers, and aging carriers, many of them old, some barely combat-ready, were being refitted, armed, and crewed. Engineers worked around the clock. Supplies were tight. Time was tighter. Commander William Carter stood in the operations bay of the TSV Resolute, watching the live fleet map. Dots appeared, one by one, representing newly arrived ships reporting for duty. "We're at 63% capacity, sir," said Lieutenant Harper. "More coming in from the Vega Corridor and Proxima Command." Carter nodded. "Send confirmation. Assign them to Delta Wing. I want their captains in briefing within the hour." Harper hesitated. "Sir, most of these officers have never fought. Some of their ships have never even fired in live combat." Carter didn't look away from the screen. "Then they'll learn fast, or we all burn." That night, Carter held a command briefing aboard the Resolute. Holograms of fleet captains appeared around the table. Their expressions ranged from nervous to determined. "Let me be clear," Carter began. "The Council won't send diplomats. They'll send warships. Their first strike will test us, measure our strength. We don't let them." He tapped a control, and a tactical display showed the outer edge of the solar system. "A scout ship will arrive before the main fleet. It will scan our defenses, relay intel, and leave. We cannot let it leave." He pointed at the red dot on the map. "We strike fast, we strike hard, and we send a message." 2 days later, the Council scout ship entered the system. A sleek, silver vessel nearly twice the size of a Terran destroyer. It moved with speed and precision. Its sensors scanned Saturn's rings, then angled toward Mars. Inside the Resolute, Carter stood on the bridge. "They've arrived," Harper said. "One ship. No escorts, just like we thought." Carter nodded. "Bring Delta Wing into formation. Power up weapons. Silent approach until I give the order." The Terran ships, 4 frigates and the Resolute, slid into position, hiding behind the gravity shadows of moons and planets. The Council ship continued on its path, unaware. Carter waited. "Almost in range," Harper said. "Now," Carter ordered. Lasers and railgun rounds streaked through space. The scout ship took heavy hits, its shields flaring bright, then cracking. It turned, trying to escape. "Target engines," Carter said. A well-placed missile struck the rear thrusters. The ship spiraled, disabled. "No survivors?" Carter asked. Harper checked the scan. One escape pod launched. Small, fast. Carter watched it streak toward deep space. "Let it go," he said. "Let them know we're not afraid." News of the ambush spread fast. Across Council space, whispers echoed. The humans fought back, and they won. On his flagship deep in the Endari Reach, Overseer Vectal read the report. "A scout destroyed?" he asked coldly. The aide nodded. "Casualties confirmed. Only one pod made it out." Vectal stood, towering over the others in the room. They dare strike first. He stared out at the stars. Very well, assemble the fleet. Earth has chosen war. Back on Earth, Carter watched as more ships arrived to join the defense. He looked worn but focused. He tapped his log recorder. Personal log, Commander Carter. We engaged the enemy today. Small victory. But the first. I told them to let the escape pod go. Some questioned it, but I want the Council to know what's coming. He paused, voice steady. This isn't just about Earth anymore. It's about who we are. We won't kneel. We won't run. And when they come, they'll find us ready. The skies above Earth buzzed with movement. Docking bays were full. Repair drones zipped along hulls. Soldiers marched. Technicians worked and supplies were stacked in tall towers, ready for deployment. The Terran fleet was growing. But time was running out. Commander William Carter stood in the central command tower on Luna Base, reviewing long-range scans. Red markers, enemy ships were moving. The Galactic Council fleet had left their central worlds. Their course was clear. They were coming straight for Earth. How long until they reach our defense line? Carter asked. Estimated 12 days, sir, said Lieutenant Harper. Based on their speed, they're bringing heavy warships, at least 2 dreadnoughts. Carter exhaled slowly. He stared at the screen, then turned. We need eyes on them, not guesses, facts. Meanwhile, far from Earth, hidden in a debris field near the Council fleet's path, a small Terran stealth ship drifted silently. Inside, Specialist Dana Voss recorded every movement of the Council armada. She spoke quietly into her recorder. They're coming with full strength. Not just an enforcement fleet. This is an invasion force. 30 capital ships, dozens of escorts, advanced shield signatures confirmed, weapons powered. She paused, eyes wide. There's more. I picked up something strange. Energy spikes from their command vessel. Looks like an AI core. Massive, centralized. She knew what that meant. If they could take out the AI, they could throw the fleet into chaos. She uploaded the data and launched a data probe toward Earth. She had only one hope. It would reach them in time. Back on Earth, Carter sat with Admiral Lee and the Defense Council. They won't stop at Earth, Lee said. If we fall, the colonies go next. Carter nodded. We make our stand here, but I need permission for a strike team. Lee raised an eyebrow. A strike team, yes. We infiltrate their command vessel, take out the AI. Without it, their fleet loses coordination. It's suicide, said General Okoye. Carter looked him in the eye. So is waiting for them to blast us from orbit. There was a long silence. Then Lee spoke. Approved. Pick your team. You'll have support from orbit. Do what you must. Later, Carter walked through the hangar bay of the TSV Resolute. Technicians loaded gear into shuttles. His crew moved quickly, no one wasting a moment. He found Lieutenant Harper standing near the dropship. You're on the team, Carter said. Harper blinked. Me, sir. You've been with me from the start. I need someone I trust. Harper gave a sharp nod. Understood. Carter paused, looking around at the busy hangar. People worked without fear. They knew what was coming, but they didn't panic. They prepared. He stepped aside and activated his log recorder. Personal log, Commander Carter. The Council fleet is close now. The final battle is coming. But this won't be won with firepower alone. We found a weakness, a single opening. He looked at the stars. I've chosen the team. If we fail, Earth falls. If we succeed, we give our people a fighting chance. It's a risk, but freedom is always a risk. Darkness surrounded the Terran dropship as it coasted silently through space. Cloaked from scanners and powered down to minimum, it was a shadow among the stars. Commander William Carter stood near the cockpit, eyes fixed on the massive Council flagship ahead. It loomed like a floating fortress, sleek, silver, alive with pulsing lights, a giant among giants. Inside that ship was the AI core. If they could destroy it, the enemy fleet would lose its central command system. It would be chaos. Carter turned to his team. Lieutenant Harper, Specialist Dana Voss, and 4 elite Marines. All wore black infiltration suits. All knew the risks. No speeches, Carter said quietly. "We know what's at stake. Get in. Hit the core. Get out alive if we can." The team nodded, silent and ready. The dropship latched onto the Council vessel's underside, cutting a small hole into the outer hull. The breach was clean, silent. They entered a narrow maintenance corridor. Blue light pulsed faintly along the walls. The air smelled sterile, cold. Voss checked her scanner. Life signs minimal. "This area's unmanned." They moved quickly, weaving through passageways and descending toward the lower decks. The deeper they went, the more advanced the technology became. Panels glowed with strange alien symbols. Energy pulsed beneath transparent floors. Finally, they reached a wide chamber. At its center stood the AI core, a towering glass-like column filled with swirling light and liquid circuitry. It was beautiful and deadly. "This is it," Carter said. "Plant the charges." As the Marines set the explosives, alarms suddenly blared. The lights turned red. Defense drones dropped from the ceiling like metal spiders. "Contact," Harper shouted, opening fire. Laser fire filled the room. The team fought back, side by side. Carter moved with precision, shooting drones out of the air. Voss ducked behind a console, trying to finish the upload virus into the AI's neural net. A drone slashed at her. Harper shot it just in time. "I'm in," Voss shouted. "Upload complete. Charges ready. Fall back," Carter yelled. They ran, dodging fire. One Marine was hit. He fell, shouting for them to go. Another dragged him as far as the exit before taking a blast to the chest. He died without a word. The rest made it back to the dropship. As they launched away from the Council flagship, Carter triggered the detonator. A bright blue explosion tore through the enemy ship's center. Energy surged and failed. Lights went out. Ships across the Council fleet lost their coordination. Their movements turned erratic. Some collided. Some powered down. Some just drifted, confused. Carter watched from orbit, breath heavy. "We did it," Harper whispered. But Carter didn't smile. "We lost 2 good people today. We'll honor them by finishing this fight." In the Andari Reach, Overseer Vectal stared at the reports. "Command systems offline?" he asked, stunned. The technician nodded. "The Terrans struck the flagship. Their team survived." Vectal's hands tightened into fists. "They fight with fire and cunning." He turned to the fleet commanders behind him. "Bring the full armada. Earth will burn." Back on Earth, the fleet prepared. Commanders took position. Civilians sheltered below ground. Orbital guns aligned. Commander Carter stood on the bridge of the TSV Resolute, now patched from the last battle, but ready. He looked at the stars and whispered, "Let's finish this." The first enemy ships arrived above Mars just after dawn. The Council fleet, though weakened, still outnumbered the Terran forces. Their vessels moved in waves, like sharp blades cutting through space. Commander William Carter stood on the bridge of the TSV Resolute. Around him, the Terran fleet waited, lined in defensive formations, engines burning quietly. Every pilot knew this would be the deciding battle. "Enemy dreadnoughts entering orbit," Lieutenant Harper reported. "They're targeting Mars Command. Order all ships to hold formation." Carter said calmly. "We fight on our terms." On the Martian surface, ground forces braced for impact. The first Council strikes hit hard. Buildings crumbled. Defense cannons fired back, lighting the sky with streaks of fire. Civilians were already underground, but the price of defense was heavy. In orbit, the battle exploded. The Resolute fired its main railguns, piercing a Council destroyer's hull. Terran fighter squadrons darted through the chaos, dodging lasers and returning fire. Explosions flashed across the black void. Carter moved from console to console, issuing orders. "Flank left, Delta Wing, take out those cruisers. Redirect power to shields. Brace for impact." The ship shook as enemy fire slammed into the side. Sparks flew from a console. Smoke filled part of the bridge. "Damage on decks 5 and 6, shouted an officer. "Seal the bulkheads," Carter ordered. We hold the line. In the heart of the battle, the Council flagship pushed forward. Overseer Vextal stood on its command deck, eyes locked on Earth in the distance. His voice was cold. End this. But without their AI command core, the Council fleet lacked unity. Their ships acted alone, powerful, but without coordination. Carter saw the gap. Now, he said, break formation, hit them fast, cut deep and retreat before they regroup. Terran ships scattered, hitting targets and slipping away. It was a deadly dance, strategy over brute force. Suddenly, a Council cruiser locked onto the Resolute. It fired a full volley. Incoming, Harper shouted. The blast rocked the ship. Lights flickered. Half the bridge went dark. Carter pulled himself up. Blood ran from a cut on his forehead. We're still flying, he growled. Fire back. Then came a signal. Sir, shouted Harper. The Martian defense satellites are online. They're targeting the enemy flagship. On Mars, engineers had worked through the bombardment to bring the last orbital weapons online. Now giant ion beams fired upward, striking the enemy command ship directly. The Council flagship cracked open like glass. Vextal stumbled as fire spread around him. Impossible, he whispered. They're only human. With their leader defeated, and their fleet scattered, the remaining Council ships began to retreat. One by one they turned and fled into deep space. Cheers erupted across Terran channels. We did it, Harper shouted. They're retreating. Carter stood still for a moment. His face was tired, but his eyes were sharp. Stand down weapons, he said. Start rescue operations. Get our wounded home. Hours later, back on Earth, Carter stood before a quiet field, now a memorial site. Flags marked the names of the fallen. The price had been high. Admiral Lee joined him. They've sent a message, she said. The Council will no longer challenge us. We're free, for now. Carter nodded. Freedom isn't given, it's earned. He turned and walked away, the stars shining above. The war was over, but its scars remained. Earth's cities were quiet. Flags flew at half-mast. Across the colonies, people gathered to honor the fallen. Memorials were built on Mars, Luna, and Europa. Names etched in steel. Stories told in soft voices. Commander William Carter stood in front of one such memorial. It was a simple wall in a quiet park near New Geneva. His uniform was clean, but his eyes were tired. He looked at the names, crew members, pilots, soldiers, friends. He placed a hand on the cold metal. I remember each one, he said quietly. Later that day, the Terran Assembly met in the Grand Chamber beneath Earth's surface. It was packed with representatives, officers, and civilians. The air buzzed with tension and pride. Admiral Lee stepped up to the podium. She spoke with strength. The Council demanded our submission. We gave them our answer. We stood, we fought, and we endured. Humanity is now recognized as a sovereign power by the Galactic Council. We are no longer a rising species. We are a free one. Applause filled the chamber. Now, she continued, let us hear from the man who led us through the fire, Commander William Carter. Carter walked slowly to the podium. He looked out over the room. Faces stared back, some proud, some mourning, all waiting. He didn't speak loudly. He didn't need to. We didn't win because we were stronger. We won because we had no choice but to fight. They expected fear. We gave them defiance. He paused. Let this victory remind us. Freedom isn't safe. It isn't easy, but it's worth the cost. He stepped down without another word. The room rose to their feet. No one clapped. It wasn't a moment for applause. It was a moment for memory. After the ceremony, Carter returned to the TSV. Resolute, the ship was repaired and docked in low orbit above Earth. He walked its halls, now quiet. He stopped by the observation deck and stared out at the stars. Lieutenant Harper joined him. Leaving again, sir? Harper asked. Carter nodded. There's still work to do. Patrols, peacekeeping, training the next generation. Harper smiled faintly. You think the Council will try again? Carter didn't answer right away. Then he said, If they do, they'll remember what happened here. In the far reaches of space, deep in the Council territories, Overseer Vekatal stood alone in a dim chamber. His armor was gone, his rank stripped. He watched a recording. Carter's final message broadcast across the galaxy. The human's words echoed, "We are not your subjects, we are your equals." Vekatal turned away and said nothing. As the Resolute drifted over the curve of Earth, Carter looked out one last time before departure. The stars stretched ahead, wide, silent, and free.